That is for another day. Okay, compass directions. So far, right, at the top of compass directions, we know what angle of elevation is, right? We have a horizontal and we have a line looking up like this. We know what angle of depression. If you see that in one of your questions, you know that it's a horizontal line looking down, okay? It's always with respect to the horizontal. This is my horizontal here, horizontal there. So those ones you should know how to work with. And then everything in between, side, side, side. If it's a side, 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 you know it's going to be cosine law. If it's side, angle, side, you know that it's going to be cosine law, right? But now we are going to deal with the compass direction questions. Okay, so when you have a question where it says someone travels south 30 degrees west, you know this is compass direction related. Okay, it essentially gives you the direction of one of the sides of the resulting triangles. Okay, it is important to read these carefully, since the angles are not always inside the triangle that you're going to end up with. I would say, very important, I'm going to give this a different color, you should always include a compass rose in these scenarios, okay? And this is a compass rose right here, so I will always have, from wherever I start, I will have this somewhere in my work, okay? So that's kind of like, you know, your north, south, east, west. Let's make sure we know that, right? North, south, that one most people are okay with, but they struggle with east, west. So just think of it as you want it to spell we, not you, right? You. That's wrong. We. Okay, so if you remember that, I know you had teachers going, never eat soggy wieners, da, 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 da. Right? Or whatever they did. Sure, if you remember that, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use a red pen for the actual direction that I'm going to draw in each of these cases. So when you see north 25 degrees west, it reads, right? The way we read this is north 25 degrees towards west. Okay? You start north, you turn 25 degrees towards the west. Okay, so in this case, and try to use reference angles, okay? We know that between north and west, there's a 90. So halfway would be a 45, okay? You're gonna come up with a 25-degree angle. So what this is saying is we're starting north, then we're turning 25 degrees west. So that would be the resulting line. So this is 25 right there. Okay, so that would be your line, that would be the direction. You should be able to read that as well. Another cool side note here is if you go north 25 degrees west, you can refer to the exact same direction in starting from the west. So watch this. If you flip this, if you go west and north, right? What would this be over here? If this is 25, then this is 65, correct? So we could say west 65 degrees towards the north. Right? So if you were to refer to this direction, you say west turn 65 north or north 25 west, you're talking about the exact same direction. So basically, this is just a fun fact. You don't need to necessarily write this in you just have to be comfortable with either format, okay? So the first letter is where you start, then the degree of turn, and then the second letter tells you where are we turning towards. Okay, that's what I want you to remember. So let's try another one here. South 15 east. We start south, and we turn 15 degrees east. Okay, Where's the angle? The angle is right in here. Okay, that's 15 degrees. Yeah.
How do you just figure out that like that's exactly 16 degrees?
You don't have to do it exactly. I just want you to have an approximate. I shouldn't see this, right?
Yeah.
That's like, this is your 45, right? Between the, like, right down the is 45. So just make it smaller than 45. I don't really care. It doesn't have to be drawn to scale. Yeah, that's a good point. Next. How about this? If I gave you this, would you be able to read it? So if tomorrow, if I give an AC and you're like, give me the compass direction of this line right here, what would you say? East, 32 degrees south. Yeah, thank you. Not too bad, right? It gets complicated when I give you a bunch of them and you have to draw your triangle. You're like, where is this going? But if you know how to read it and how to draw it, you'll be fine. You just have to be careful. This one, I need you to understand this. Look at, make an arc. It's touching the north line. So that's my reference. So I'm going to say north, 71 degrees towards the west. We could state these in a different way, right? We could do south, east, and just make sure you go, take this away from 90, right? So this would be 58. So you can say or. Okay, either case is fine. I tend to stick with the first one that just intuitively comes to me. Here it's east, going towards the south. Same thing here, you can flip the west and the north, and that would be 19. So this is or, right? So another thing that I want you to put this down, just understand that this is 90 degrees total, right? There's a sum of 90. That's what you should observe. There's a sum of 90 degrees. That's how I come up with it. So I basically subtracted from 90. And I'm also going to highlight the one that I start with. Okay? I start with east there. Over here, there was the north line. That's the one I start with. Same up here. Let's do that a couple of times here. There was the south here. So I started with my south line as my reference point. Okay. Okay, so now let's apply this to a word problem. This is the knowledge. This is what I wanted to add. Okay. How do we apply this to a word problem? So we're going to sketch and then solve. Sketch, solve. Okay. Maybe I should warn you before we go to 62. If you just have someone is traveling southwest, it's actually saying south 45 west. It's actually exactly down the middle. So think of south and west, right? This is north-south. This is west, and this is east. Okay? So you're actually, if it says southwest, you're actually splitting this 90 here between south and west exactly in half. Okay? So you've got a 45 and a 45. So we call it the southwest direction. Okay, so I don't have to give you any numbers if I say southwest or southeast or anything like that. I don't need to give you numbers. It's assumed you're going right down the middle of 90, right? Splitting 90 in half. Keep going. 62. So here it is. I would strongly suggest a ruler for these ones. It tends to not go well if you just try to like squiggly line it through the problem. You're going to struggle because you're going to transfer angles over. Okay. It's impossible to cover all scenarios. So I'll just give you a few, and then hopefully you catch on and you take that knowledge further. Okay? Okay, so you might, you see that a tree is due east of you. Highlight that. The tree is due east of you. from the same location, so you're standing in the same location, you notice that a deer is standing, right? The deer is standing north 40 degrees west of you. How far is the deer from the tree? Another thing, you have to be comfortable with erasing. Okay, you might start somewhere, use a pencil, and then you might realize, wait a minute, this is not going to fit this space here. It's okay to erase and start again. I have the key already. I know where this is going, so it may look like it. I always know what's happening. Believe me, when I make these, I sometimes have to erase the thing myself and start from scratch. So let's see here. If something is due east of you, let's just have a little compass here, right? Okay, if this is north, south, west, east, that means you're standing somewhere here and the tree is going to be east of you. So let's start with that. This is me. And because we're doing compass rose stuff, right, compass directions, I'm going to start with this. I should have used a ruler. I just told you to use a ruler, and here I am not using a ruler. Okay. And this is you, your starting point. That's the starting point of our story, and the deer is east of us. Okay, so east is somewhere here. We don't know exactly where. They don't give us a distance. So we're just going to draw our line and say that this is the tree. Okay. And I'm going to put in brackets east. And what else do we know? The deer is standing north 40 degrees west of you. So this is north, right? This is south. East, you already determined this is west. So the deer is north 40 west. So I'm gonna start here, and it's from this location that I'm seeing the deer, right? So north 40 west, it's going this way, correct? You're with me? You agree with me? Sure. This is the deer. And if you need to erase right now, do it and start again. Okay, make it look nice. Yeah.
Isn't it have to like that far?
That's a good question. They don't tell me how far, right?
Yeah.
So would this have been okay there? Yes. Technically, yes. Would it have been okay to stop there? Yes. So you know why I extend it more is because I want space to fill in my triangle. Okay? That's why, Ranveer, that's why. So I'm going to try to give you lots of space for these types of questions in particular. Actually, just across the board, any test or AC, you're going to notice lots of space. Okay? All right, so now what is the question asking? How far is the deer from the tree? So this is the one that we're going to just draw because we want that side of the triangle. This is our X. This is our unknown. Now, I didn't give you a side length, right? I didn't want to worry about that right now. I just wanted you to be able to draw. This diagram is not complete right now. It has no angles. Where does the 40 go in my triangle here? Well, we know that it's from the north line. It's from the north line towards the deer line, right? So the 40 comes in there. If you need to extend the north-south line into your triangle right now with a pencil, do that. Extend it so that you can see that the north line is there. Okay. Do we know this part right here? It's a 90, right? It doesn't just look like a 90. We know it's a 90. Why? Because this one goes straight to the east. And this is my north line, right? So I can actually complete this and say, this is the biggest box you've ever seen in a triangle, I'm sure of it. But this is a 90 here, okay? So 90 and 40, you actually have 130 degrees here at this corner. So this is my interpretation. I don't like to mix them up. I interpret it first, And then I strongly encourage students to make a copy of it, a clean version. So watch what I do. I just basically bring my ruler over here, and then you obviously make a smaller version of it. And then I go over to this side that I've drawn here, and I try to bring that over, copy that same angle, and then close my triangle. Okay? So this is the clean version. And then I fill in what I know for sure. This is 130, because I get 90 plus 40. Okay? That is probably, in this example, that's the hardest part. Right? Okay. I'm going to call this T for tree. This is going to be angle D for deer, and this is Y for U. Okay? Where you are. Call it whatever you are. Whatever you want. A, B, C, I'm fine with that. Okay? So now we're going to add side lengths to the mix. Okay? So let's try this. And then we're actually going to solve as well. I'm going to ask you to solve. That's your warm-up for today. Knowing how to use the sine law, cosine law. Okay, so you travel 12 kilometers in the direction north 30 east. This goes together. Okay? You've got the distance and you've got the direction. Sometimes you only have direction. Sometimes you only have distance. Now you have both. Right? So that's locked in. Then you turn. Right, you turn and you head in the direction north 50 degrees west for 7 kilometers. How far are you from your starting point? I'm going to also highlight turn, because that is important to, you're moving now. You're not standing still. You're starting somewhere, you're moving, then you turn and you keep going a different direction. So, again, let's do one of these here real quick. I can't tell you how many times students, it's not like you're just nervous sometimes and you mixed it up, right? But just make sure you know where everything is. So where are you going at first? You're going northeast, you're going in this direction, right? And then you turn, you're going to go northwest, you're going to go this way. So I'm going to start my diagram somewhere here. This is my starting point. Watch what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to make a nice visible compass rose. Does it have to be that big? Probably not, but I'm going to say this is my start. And I'm going north 30 east. Okay? So you start north, let's turn 30 degrees towards the east, like somewhere in there. And travel 12 kilometers. So we know this is 12 kilometers. We know that from here to that side right there is 30. I'm going to make it a little shorter because I'm going to turn this way and I want to have enough room. So you decide what you need to do when you get there. So this is where you turn. Watch what I do again. I make my compass rose again. I go north 50 degrees west. So north, and then I'm going to turn 50 degrees towards the west, like this. It's more than just 45. This would be a 45 in my books. I'm going to go a little bit more. And here's where I need your attention. I'm just going to first do the 50. The 50 is from the north to the direction of travel. Now, what helps students is to realize if this is 12, this one should be shorter, correct? This is what, 7? So then I just tell my students, make sure you know that this is shorter. So I'll make it a little bit shorter than the previous one. Okay. It's a little bit more than half. So I will call this 7 kilometers. And here's where the first problem arises, okay? Because we're not drawing this to scale. You're understanding we're not drawing it to scale. Like this is not drawn to scale. This is not actually 50 degrees. This is not actually 30 degrees. Some students are tempted to be like, oh, I'm just going to extend this line and then perfectly make this come down the north line, this north-south line. Don't make that assumption. We don't know that. So I'm just going to make it stop here. This is my turn. And this is basically the end, right? And now I wonder, how far are you from your starting point? Like, what's the direct distance from here to here?
Excuse the interruption. All grade 12 graduating students, please make your way to the theater for a mandatory grad meeting. Grade 12 grad students, please make your way down to the theater for mandatory meeting. Thank you.
There's your 30. It's cutting sort of through the 30 there. This is my interpretation. Okay. So is it messy? You need to go. Okay. Is it messy? It is messy, right? Okay. Is this 30 part of my triangle? Is this 30 part of this triangle? Could you put that in this corner here? Look at the red line. It's slightly slicing into it. If you could guess, you would maybe say, what, 28, 26 degrees? But we don't know. So this is not part of it. What can I do here, guys? What do I know about this line? Sorry about that. If this is 30, what do you think this is? What are those highlighted lines again? The north-south line, no matter where you are in the world, they're always going to be parallel. Right? So if this is 30, then this is 30, alternate interior. What? Seems to haunt us, right? The alternate interiors. Alternate interior, write it down. So I brought this 30, which is touching the north line, over to this north-south line here. It's a little crowded, but there we go. Okay, is it possible to get an angle inside this triangle now? Can we get this one perhaps? This is a straight angle, correct? Can we take away the 30 and the 50 from 180 and then just get this one in here? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go straight angle is equal to 180. Therefore, angle T is going to be 180 minus 30 minus 50. So angle T is 100 degrees. See how messy it can get? Now we're going to make our clean version of this. I'm going to take this side here, draw it there. I'm going to go over to this side right here, keep that angle, just move it over, and then close this here. So this is the clean version. I know that this is 12 kilometers. I know this is 7 kilometers. I know that this one is 100 degrees. Can I bring the 30 in here? I'm tempted though. It's so much easier, Mr. Dirksen. Can I just bring it in there? Just 30? My answer is going to be a little bit off. Unfortunately, that is not just a little mistake. That is a 1 minus 1 mistake, you know? Because you can't bring the 30 in there because it's not part of the triangle. It is just not, okay? And so please never, whatever you do, maybe your diagram is very different than mine. Please don't let it happen that you come straight down the north-south line, especially if it doesn't say that. So you either go past so that your angle kind of looks a little bit like this, or you go a bit shorter so that it goes like this, but don't make it come down the north-south line. Okay? Can we solve that one? What do we use for this one? Cosine. Can you solve it just to get a little break from me? So this is SAS, cosine law. So solve it. If you do this correctly, you should get 14.91 kilometers. This is our unknown, right? That is our ultimate unknown, this distance right there. And now that you have a pair, you could technically solve for anything else. That's one thing that I need you to know, that some questions will not be a slam dunk, like I just do one law and I'm done. Sometimes you're going to have to solve for other things before you solve the ultimate. Okay? Okay, I'm going to stop there for this.